Hey everyone, it's Armor. I really quickly wanted to release this highlight reel of a live stream that we did earlier today. If you haven't seen the live stream, I highly recommend it. Basically, we had Nesma, a senior SocialPoint gameplay designer, come on, and it was kind of like a Ask Me Anything. And so if you want to find out anything about why isn't there enough storage, why isn't there enough space for legendaries and mythic monsters, and why are mythic monsters a thing, and upcoming events and stuff, like, I highly recommend you watch it. But more importantly, there was a portion in the video, like 15 minutes into the live stream, where Sammy Gaming asked what does it take to be a gameplay developer, and it got a little more personal and deep to where he gave his story on how he became a gameplay designer. And to me, that's probably what stood out the most, because we really did get a little deep into it, and like I just recommend you watch this. So this is why I wanted to cut this portion. But if you're interested in anything else, like what I mentioned, like any questions about space or his thoughts, by the way, these are just his thoughts, not a representation of SocialPoint on what he thinks about the rune locks, the runes being locked, and everything and all. Like, I highly recommend you watch the live stream. It is a little long. It was supposed to be an hour. It ended up being 2.5 hours. To be honest, we could have probably talked for more and more hours. So just a huge thanks for him for coming on to do this live stream. But I really want everyone to listen to this portion and maybe take something away. And then if you're interested to listen to the rest, there's going to be a link in the description to listen to the rest of it. Also, I highly recommend everyone join the official Monster Legends Discord. There's also going to be a link in the description for that. But I hope you guys enjoy. Just I'll let Nesma take it away. I want to take a question from the chat that stood out to me. It's from Sammy Gaming. This isn't Monster Legends related. It's just, what does it take to be a game designer?
Oof. That's a tough question. Well, I think it's quite. You can rumble like around this question for an hour again, I guess, or something like that, and you still won't nail down the like all the things.
Yeah. Why don't we focus on what made you want to become a game designer, or like what age did you decide? Let's go with that approach.
Oh.
Another hour?
Right. Yeah. Let's go for a story then. Well, it's quite similar to the stories you hear from any game developer. Mostly, like most of the game developers. Well, I was 3 and my parents brought me my first console. It was Atari 2600. It was pretty old school, and it was like. I'm from Russia myself, and it was the time when like Soviet Union ceased to be, and like borders just opened, and they just brought the console from Poland or whatever. And I remember like this feeling, like I was 3 years old. I remember this feeling. I'm doing something on the screen.
Yeah.
Wow, it's like television but better. And then when I was 5, they brought me Sega. And actually, they brought not to me, but to themselves, because they were like fans of the video games by that time already. And yeah, I had Sega, and I remember I was doing, wow, I want to be a game developer. But at some point, I started to think, okay, when I grew up a bit, I started to think, no, it's not possible, because all the games are done by like programmer somewhere in Japan or United States, and here in Russia you can do anything actually. But then I went to the university, etc., etc. Like I went to the university and I got the linguistic grade, and it's not anyhow connected to the game development. And I started to work, and at some point I realized that okay, as the tools became more and more available, more and more companies started to appear in Russia even, and mostly mobile company. And I started, okay, maybe I should pursue like this this idea. I want to make games, because it was my main hobby by that time, and for whole life actually.
Yeah.
And I just sent a letter to all the companies that I knew. Guys, I don't know anything. I don't know how to do games, but I want to learn. And one of the companies just said, okay, you can come as an intern.
Oh,
and
wow.
That's how I started. Yeah, probably right now it will be a bit harder than before, but yeah, that's how it goes.
You have to try. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to try. Always, if you have something a dream to pursue, you should pursue it. Like, you should try that. And sometimes it's working. And you shouldn't be like, okay, it's not working, I give up. Never give up. Like, try this. And actually, I think it was the best decision in my life to do this, because right now I'm working. Like, my work is my hobby, and I think it's perfect.
Yeah, I'm so glad I asked this question. I hope everyone's listening. This is super valuable. I think of sometimes I'll get comments from people, and they say like hi armor, and then I try my best to get back to as many people as possible. I reply, and they're like, I didn't think you'd reply. I just send the message. So like this just goes to show you, like, you literally have to try, and you never know what can happen. Like, worst that can happen is no one gets back to you, but just that, even though you had no experience, just that one person got back to you, and now it led to where you are now, and now we're having this live stream talking here in the middle of the virus and everything. It's crazy what can happen if you just literally pursue what you want to pursue. I love it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so Sammy, who asked the question about game designing, I mean, just look, you said you started with linguistics, right? And then over time you went back to where your hobby and your passion was. So I hope this serves as something that motivates you to just try. Sammy, if you're out there in the chat, I think you are. Okay, I love that.
Yeah, if at some point you want to pursue this game design thing, I think there are a lot of right now there are a lot of good materials on game design, and you can go to Gamma Sutra. This is the website where all game developers, and there are a lot of articles. You can find some YouTube channels like Game Maker's Toolkit, for example, or extra credits with the short videos on game design. They're simple, they're for beginners, and you can start like understanding the basics of the game design. And then you have literature and like more advanced stuff. But yeah, it could be a good start if you want to become a game designer or a game programmer or anything. There are a lot of materials that you can like find for free and start your path. So the only thing you need is to want it.
Yeah,
that's it.
That desire, that passion. Yeah, I love it. That was a great question. Great answer too. I feel like I feel we could talk hours on end on that, because that's something I try to push so hard. Like, just do it. Like, the worst that can happen is you're where you were before you even tried to do it. That was good.
You actually, when you doing something and failing, that's an experience for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like I haven't mentioned it, but my first job wasn't my first interview. Like, I did like 5 or 6 interviews before I got the job, because and each of the interviews was an experience for me, because they told me, okay, you're lacking this, and I started to work on this, what I'm lacking, and like 3-4 interviews, and on the 5th or like something like that interview, I already got the knowledge to like have this job. So yeah.
So even if you like quote unquote fail, it's not a fail because you learned something from it.